Hello. Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. YouTube, hopefully, future audience. We shall see. Welcome to Mama Sparks, episode one. My name is Lisa. I will be your host, and I am here to talk about all things primarily Disney World, ways to make it a little bit more magical and manageable and also sprinkle in some Disney insight, history, tips, knowledge, trivia, um, and share some of my personal stories. So, by way of introduction, let me actually pull this down for a minute. By way of introduction, I'm Lisa. I am a corporate girly. I am a mom of three, 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and almost 1-year-old. I am a Disney World enthusiast. I've been going literally since I was 1 years old. I have family that works at Disney for Disney World and has been there for many, many years. So I have a lot of experience going in different situations in life, from being a child myself to being a single young adult to being a mother with every age up until 6 years old. So I hope to create a place of community and knowledge and fun, and that we can kind of kick back and learn some things, talk about ideas and tips and tricks. And I would like this content, this kind of long form YouTube content, to morph into live shows. So my ultimate goal, as I hopefully gain a little bit of an audience, is that we will end up producing live shows together where you all can offer your tips and tricks and also questions that we can field kind of live on the fly together. I think, millennials, it seems like we have a good base of Disney adults, whether you're single or married or a parent or whatever your case may be. Disney is a giant, right? And Disney World in particular is a giant. Just looking at the data and the numbers and the volume of people that go there, and I know it triggers and it elicits an emotional state of being, I would say, that many people hold near and dear to their heart. So, to kick things off with our first episode here, I would like to do a little intro. This is kind of the standard format that I will follow, I think. Starting off with what I call Sparks Notes, play on words. The Sparks note for today, being that it's our inaugural episode, is going to focus on the man himself, Walt Disney, and how he got started. Little inspiration. We will then jump into WDW 101, an intro on what all is encompassing of Disney World, how big it is, a little bit about each park, just giving you an idea of the landscape there. If you are a Disney planning newbie, you've always wanted to go, you hear it's fantastic, you're saving money to go, this is a good place to just jump into and start to get context around what does Walt Disney World entail. We'll then go through some planning resources. So again, there's a lot of intricacy to doing Disney well or right, or managing it appropriately. So I have some resources that I love. I'm by no means an expert on everything. So I wanted to share those with you. And then we'll get into a hot take. Maybe don't go to Disney if dot dot dot. And we'll close with some common Q&A that I actually get from friends and family members that know I'm constantly posting our family trips to Disney and they're thinking about going. Here are some common questions that come to light, and we'll go through those. So without further ado, and please consider I am an amateur. So as I am navigating all of my supporting content here, and there we go. Trying to be as professional as I can be from the get-go. Just bear with me. I'm a one-woman show, just trying this thing. So I will do my best. You have my commitment to offer the utmost of professionalism as we go through this together, guys. But you'll see on my screen here, we're going to start with an intro, a little Sparks Notes around The man who bet everything on a mouse. When people hear the name Walt Disney, they think of castles, theme parks, and childhood magic. Maybe movies too. But the truth is, his story didn't start with magic. Not really. It kind of started with failure, to be honest. Walt Disney was born December 5th in 1901 in Chicago and raised in the Midwest. Ooh, ooh. I'm from Michigan, so Midwesters, hey. He spent his early years delivering newspapers in the freezing cold before school. His father kind of forced him and his brothers into that gig. And that's not exactly the beginning you might expect for someone who would quite literally redefine entertainment. As a young man, Disney had one very clear obsession, and that was drawing. He had an idea to tell stories through animation at a time when animation barely existed. After a stint trying and failing to break into the newspaper industry, where he was reportedly told he lacked imagination, he moved to Kansas City to pursue animation. And this is where things start to get interesting. At just 21 years old, his first company, Laugh-O-Gram Studios, actually went bankrupt. Completely broke, Disney packed a suitcase, grabbed a few drawings, and moved to Hollywood with just $40 in his pocket. Most people would stop there, maybe after, starting their own company, going bankrupt, losing everything. But fortunately, Walt did not. He started all over again and created a character named Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. It was successful until Disney lost the rights to the character in a contract dispute to Charles Mintz. And Charles Mintz was actually working for Universal Pictures. So it's kind of interesting. People may know there's a little bit of a rivalry in the theme park space between Universal and Walt Disney World, or Disney in general. And that rivalry even began, back in the 1920s. Anyway, he lost the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and overnight he lost his main source of income and most of the staff. At that moment, Disney had a choice. Just walk away from it, give up, not for me, it's not working out, or risk it all again and give it a try again. And on a train ride back to California, he chose risk and he sketched a new character. That character became Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse. Yep. Disney's original choice of name was Mortimer Mouse, but luckily his wife Lillian thought it was too pompous and suggested Mickey instead. But even Mickey was not an instant win. Disney pushed another big gamble, synchronized sound in cartoons, something no one had successfully done before. In 1928, he released Steamboat Willie, and that changed everything. From there, Disney kept taking risks that others thought were reckless. In the 1930s, he decided to make the first full-length animated feature film. Critics called it Disney's folly, convinced no one would sit through a 90-minute cartoon. Anyone know what the first full-length animated feature film was? A lot of people think it's Cinderella, strangely enough, but it is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It was a 4-year production. It cost $1.5 million to produce, which was 3 times over budget. And ultimately, to finance it and get it over the finish line, Disney mortgaged his house, borrowed heavily, and poured everything he had into the project and making sure that it was done right. He was definitely a perfectionist when it came to his vision. And if he failed, he would have lost everything. Like really lost everything. Can you imagine being Lillian and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna make this 90-minute cartoon that no one's ever done before, and I need a lot of money, and I'm kind of just gonna mortgage our house to try this." I don't know how many wives would be like, "Sure, honey, I support you." Who knows what those conversations were like? But ultimately, she trusted him and she bought into his vision too. And thank God for that. So it did not fail. Instead, it became the highest grossing film of its time. It was the most successful motion picture of 1938, and by 1939, its total gross was over $6.5 million. It was the most successful sound film made to that date. And he didn't stop there. Disney's vision grew beyond films, of course, and he ended up imagining a place where families could step into stories, a completely new kind of experience. Banks thought it was too risky. Investors were skeptical. So once again, Disney bet on himself. And that vision became Disneyland. When it opened in 1955, it redefined entertainment, not just as something you watch, but something you live. In closing, Walt Disney didn't build an empire because everything worked and it was kismet and meant to be. He built it because he kept going when nothing worked. Resiliency, dedication to the vision. He lost companies, he lost characters, he went broke more than once, but every time he doubled down on his vision and creativity and took another risk when it mattered most. And that's the real story behind the magic. Not just imagination, but the faith and the grit to bet everything on it. And that is your Sparks notes for today. I hope you enjoyed it. There's plenty that could be divulged upon when it comes to Walt Disney. So maybe we'll spend future episodes looking at different parts of his life, but I thought it fitting to set the stage of, isn't it amazing the impact that has been had because of his ambition and his dedication to this new idea of entertainment in general and his vision. So I found that pretty inspiring. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will now get into a little bit of WDW 101. So, what's interesting to me, and maybe I'm ignorant and I think everyone has this knowledge and I judge them without reason. But what's interesting to me is that I have like people and friends that literally think that Walt Disney World is like just Magic Kingdom. And when I tell them that they have four parks, they're like, no, no, four parks, what? But like literally, there's a lot. There's a lot there. So let's just break it down kind of high level for people that don't know and people that do know. Maybe I'll offer you some interesting bits of information. So Walt Disney World does include four theme parks. Keep in mind, the entirety of Walt Disney World property is about 25,000 acres. That's near 39 square miles. So, roughly the size of San Francisco or two times Manhattan. And actually, only about half of the land is developed and the rest is preserved. There's a lot of wetlands, there are some conservation areas. So, this is a huge, it's literally like a world. I mean, like a city. It is the most visited vacation resort in the world, and its annual attendance is huge. 48 to 50 million visits per year are tracked across all parks. Um, and Magic Kingdom is definitely the most visited. They get about 17.8 million visits annually. Epcot around 12 million. Hollywood Studios 10 million, and Animal Kingdom 8 to 9 million. So let's break this down a little bit more. So yes, there's the four theme parks. There are two water parks. They each have a kind of a different vibe. And there is one large shopping entertainment district that's referred to as Disney Springs. It used to be called Downtown Disney, and then it had a rehaul. So now it is Disney Springs. There are 18 Walt Disney World resorts that are available to choose what we would refer to as on property accommodations. Of course, many people choose to go to Disney World and they stay at, I don't know, maybe a Hyatt or a Marriott or a Hilton Inn, and then ultimately end up driving or traveling in a little bit more of a distance to get onto the Walt Disney World property. Within the 18 resorts, they are tiered for different cost and different type of accommodation and what ambiance and theming and things like that. So there are five value resorts that are more economical. There are five moderate resorts that are mid-range, and there are eight deluxe resorts that are kind of the staple classic Disney resorts for folks. So we'll walk through those probably. We'll walk through the resorts and things at a different time today. I think we'll dive into, well, not too much dive into, but we'll take a look primarily at the four theme parks and walk through those so we can just, break it down for people that need more of a lay of the land. What am I getting into? This here is just a map to give you an idea of kind of what I was speaking to with the size and the scale. So at the top, middle, you'll see the castle, iconic of Disney World. That is Magic Kingdom. The little waterfront in front of it is called the Seven Seas Lagoon, and several of the deluxe resorts sit around that lagoon. And one reason that they are called deluxe resorts is simply because of the proximity to the castle. Oftentimes, your room may include firework viewing availability. If you're out on the beachfront, you will be able to see the nightly fireworks shows, hear the music, all of that. So it's definitely something where maybe worth paying if that's important to you to stay at a resort that's on the main hub around the central Magic Kingdom Park. Going down into the left, you will see the big, 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 big tree. That is the icon for Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park. That's the Tree of Life. We'll talk a little bit more about that park and what you can expect from it later. If you head to the right from there, the big sorcerer's hat, that is Disney's Hollywood Studios theme park. Coming up to the right, the big golf ball, that is Epcot. And you can see its symbol there. I am like completely forgetting what that ride is called. What it's called. You guys will have to bear. It's gonna come back to me. It will come back to me. I need more coffee, clearly. I'm gonna sip for just a moment from my Disney monorail castle mug. Maybe I just need more coffee and it'll come to me. So we have Epcot, and then to the right edge, towards the bottom, you see like the whole Disney Springs area. I realized that this image I pulled had some of the old titles on there, so it's calling it a Downtown Disney, which again, it's not Downtown Disney anymore. It's Disney Springs. But this picture is really just to give you an idea of the size that it truly is like a city that you're going to. Orlando Airport is about 20 miles away. Now let's get into some of the meat and potatoes. So starting off with the Magic Kingdom, I'm going to just pull out my notes so again I can maintain the utmost of professionalism. So Magic Kingdom, just to give you context, it's about 107 acres of park area. It is the smallest of the four Disney World parks in physical size, but it is also the most densely packed in terms of volume of attractions and how many guests it typically sees. So you heard the data, it gets the most annual visitors. It's definitely like the prize theme park. But Magic Kingdom is actually just a tiny fraction of the overall property. It has, I want to say, between 40 to 50 attractions in total. And attractions are not just rides. Disney terms attraction as like any kind of experience for guests to enjoy. So the breakdown of attractions would include somewhere around 20 rides, 10 to 15 shows and stage performances. And then there are also parades, fireworks, character experience, and those are experiences. Those are also deemed categorized as an attraction. So 40 to 50 total attractions, 20 around 20 or so rides, 10 to 15 shows or stage performances, and then the balance would be the parades and fireworks and things like that. Some of the most popular attractions here. This is where you'll find a lot of the Disney World classics, thinking like Pirates of the Caribbean ride, Haunted Mansion, Space Mountain, It's a Small World. Tron Light Cycle Run is the newest thrill ride that was added there. I will tell you, my husband and I went on Tron about a year and a half ago, and we were super pumped, finally, big new thrill ride, Magic Kingdom. When I tell you, I think we were close to dying, both of us. I'm not joking. I should have actually pulled up the picture. Maybe I'll share it later. But for Tron, I wish I had a picture of the ride. You're sitting on like it's designed like a bicycle, and you're not strapped in. But the bicycle has like all these like curves around it, so you feel like you're kind of tucked in, like physically, but you don't have like a lever really. You're holding on to these little handlebars, and it like shoots you off like a rocket, and it takes you outside, and you like go almost upside down, and like it's extremely fast. And I think why we felt like we were about to die, and the picture is evidence of that if you see our faces. um I didn't feel like secure. Like I knew, like I trust Disney. I'm assuming there's a lot of physics that's behind this. Like I'm not going to fall out. That's probably not possible, but I couldn't rationalize that in my brain. So fantastic attraction, but I will never do it again. Like, I just don't think I would ever do it again. Um, I actually want to check something real quick. Oh, you know what? Hold on, guys. Bear with me. I actually had updates to the supporting slide deck that were not represented in that. So just give me 2 minutes. I feel like while I'm making these little like adjustments, I need some sort of like background music. Somebody start singing It's a Small World. If you're watching this, just take the time to yourself for a minute while I try to correct what I've done wrong. Okay. Again, clearly amateur. Let me see if this is the correct version. Nope. Oh, fiddlesticks. I'm on the right thing here. I wonder if I just shared my screen, would that work? All right, I'm gonna pause my recording and we'll come back in a minute. Okay, we're back. All right, isn't this much more beautifuler? Beautiful? Quoting this is much more beautifuler. I wish I would have had the correct slideshow queued up prior. So this was how I really should have been speaking to all the statistics about Greater Disney World. Didn't even touch on the transportation system, but we'll get there. Rolling through. So I was talking to you a little bit about Magic Kingdom. We went through some of the rides, talked about my experience on Tron. Let's break down the lands as we're looking at the map. So over down at the bottom center is the entrance to Magic Kingdom. There is boat access, so guests are invited to transport via boat into the area. There's buses, there is a parking complex. There's also the monorail. We'll talk more about the monorail system later, but it essentially just loops around that Seven Seas Lagoon, transporting guests around the deluxe resorts and Magic Kingdom. So then you come up through this entrance here at the bottom onto Main Street, USA. That's where you land in the middle of this street or boulevard, and can stop and take your photo op in front of the castle. As you make your way down this strip into the center circle, trust me, there will be at least 10 different photographers throughout that walkway that you can engage in to take a family portrait. So if you miss the first 3 or 4, don't worry. There are plenty of photo ops available. Disney does, across all of its property, have photographers, specialists available to take your family photos, make it magical. They are available for purchase. You will be able to view all of the photos on your My Disney Experience app. We'll get into those details down the road, but just know photos, very big, very available. Yes, you mainly pay for them. So you'll travel down Main Street, USA. And then we split off into each of the lands from there. To your right is Tomorrowland. This is future focused kind of theming, very spacey. This is where Space Mountain lives, Tron, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, which is my 6 year old's like legit obsession. Like his reason for living and breathing right now is the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin ride. It just underwent a large makeover with new cars, new blasters, and it actually just reopened live to the public a couple of weeks ago. We're going back in 40 days from today. We're doing our big annual Disney vacation, 10 days. So I'll keep you posted on, packing, planning, shopping when we get there, how the trip goes. But this is the number one attraction that my son and essentially the family is looking forward to. Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, very popular ride. We have some classics over here, Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress. So I love Tomorrowland, holds a special place in my heart. Lots of good rides. Moving up from there, we start to get into Fantasyland. Fantasyland has changed over the years, like most things. We still have the classic rides. We've got Peter Pan, we've got Small World, but there have been a lot of modifications and some additions. So within Fantasyland, we have our second large scale castle, kind of, which is Beauty and the Beast. That's also kind of recent in the last decade. You get to see the Beast's castle. They offer character dining there, where the Beast actually comes and guests get to see him, not really interact with him, but he does walk around and travel through the restaurant. It is beautiful. It's a lovely setting to have a meal, great place to cool off, good food, pretty decent food. You do pay a higher price, of course, for any sort of character dining because of the experience, and the food is supposedly a better scale than like your quick service and some fancier offerings there. So that's one of the newer additions. And then the third castle available is Ariel's, or Prince Eric and Ariel's. If towards the back of Fantasyland, that's another newer area. You don't get to go in the castle, but it is pictured, and there's an Ariel ride there that is fun. So a lot of newer-ish things. I feel like Fantasyland had a little bit of a focus in terms of modifications and upgrades in the past 2 decades. Lots of fun stuff for the kiddos to do there, of course. Lots of classic family rides, Disney rides that have been around for a very long time. Coming down from there, you'll see Liberty Square. This is where the Hall of Presidents is. So very like America themed. In the back, tucked away in the back of that is the Haunted Mansion up on the hill. Very popular classic ride. I will never go to Magic Kingdom and miss riding Haunted Mansion. One of the best parts of that Liberty Square area. And then moving down from there, where you see kind of a little river-ish area, this is Adventureland. Adventureland is so much fun too. This is where Aladdin's magic carpet ride lives. It's very similar to Dumbo. You know, a little magic carpet. You go up and you fly. You can control going up and down. The camel spit on you. Very cute. Jungle Cruise, classic Disney ride. Tiki Room, the Enchanted Tiki Room is here, which is a show with all these animatronic birds, and there's Thunderstorm and Tiki Gods. That's a great one. That's there. Dole Whip, very popular. Dole Whip is like a specialty form of soft serve ice cream that's kind of pineapple flavored. That's available here. Very popular. Dining, we have Skipper's Cantina, which is Jungle Cruise themed. Sit down, does serve alcohol. I just know that. That's a great place. We always, well, not always, typically go there for lunch for a break from the heat, good food, get a drink. And then new dining within Adventureland. Adventureland also has Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Again, another classic, cannot miss. They've recently opened a Pirates of the Caribbean themed restaurant. It's called the Beak and Barrel, also a bar. So another one that serves alcohol. That actually has been a very controversial thing. So when we're thinking about all the parks and trying to understand each of them, historically, Magic Kingdom did not serve alcohol. And that was, I believe, because Walt had a strong response not to. Like he did not have an inclination to have alcohol available at the signature classic theme parks. And as Walt Disney World, expanded, added on more theme parks and things like that, they kept Magic Kingdom within that kind of space of it's not going to really have that available. Other parks absolutely do. You can get them anywhere. I mean, walk 5, 10 minutes and it's there. But Magic Kingdom historically has not. I think it was Cinderella's Castle where they have the character dining available that first offered things like beer, wine, and champagne. I think that's what they're limited to. Secondary, when the Beauty and the Beast restaurant opened, they also offered those drinks. And then third was Skipper's Cantina. That was the third restaurant to offer it. And now we have the Beak and Barrel. All of those do require, I would say, I strongly recommend reservations, definitely for the character dining. Skipper Cantina could probably walk in depending on the crowd level. And the season. And then Beacon Barrel, because it being new, highly recommend reservations for that site as well. So just a little tidbit. Other parks, it's easy peasy to get. Magic Kingdom, you got to sit down and eat somewhere in order to get like a limited option of alcoholic beverages. Matters to some people doesn't. It's just something to know. So that's Adventureland. And then moving up from there, we have Frontierland, where we have formerly Splash Mountain, now the Tiana's themed ride. I'm forgetting the formal name, but essentially, old Splash Mountain with Zippity Doodah went away. It is now themed to the Tiana, Princess and the Frog stuff from that movie. And I have not been on that yet since it reopened. So I'm hoping to do that in May and can give you guys a review of that. We also have Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, great classic mild roller coaster. This was my first roller coaster as a child, and my mom bribed me to ride it, and I'm glad I did. I think it's a lot smoother than some of the others. Like I did ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which is located in Fantasyland. It's supposed to be like more of a mild children's first step roller coaster. That was awful. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, awful. I was like, I needed like an emergency chiropractic consultation after riding that ride. So jerky. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad has never done that to me. They will never treat my body that way. I will always recommend that as a first like starting roller coaster ride for kids. It also did just undergo some maintenance and they've updated the track and the seating, so it's supposed to be even more comfortable. I will let you know if in fact it is. Exciting news on Magic Kingdom upcoming. They will be, far away upcoming. What's been released as planned is that they will be developing a villains land. They haven't told us a name of what that land will be, but it will be villains themed. So something to go on lines of, Frontierland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland. There's going to be something to do with a villains land. Also, there will be a Cars or Radiator Springs area. So think Lightning McQueen, all that stuff. If you notice the big tree area right smack in the middle between Frontierland and Liberty Square and Fantasyland, the Haunted Mansion, that circle, it's actually water that, well, was water that they are in the process of filling in and getting ready to build out these new areas. So that work is just beginning underway. A whole lot more to come regarding that. But that I don't want to get too in the weeds. We will do future episodes that are just entirely focused on each park, but that's high level Magic Kingdom. On average, they operate about from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. That doesn't include extra magic hours. Extra magic hours are for Walt Disney World Resort guests. You have the ability to enter or exit parks earlier or later than the general public on certain pre-scheduled days. So if you choose to stay at a Walt Disney World Resort, you can check the schedule within the app of which parks on which date have your available extra magic hours. And that will just give you, extra magic, extra time within the park without the balance of, public guests. So that's just an extra perk to staying on site Disney property. Let's jump into Epcot. One of my favorites. We're planning on going to Epcot for 2 days on our upcoming trip. So to help you understand Epcot, let's tell you what it's primarily about. There's primarily two sections. So just looking at the map, oh, Spaceship Earth. I remembered it. The iconic golf ball is Spaceship Earth. So it's like the shape of Earth, but like spaceship-ishy, golf ball-ishy. There is a ride inside of it, but that's the icon for Epcot. All right, Epcot has two primary lands. So in the front of the park, when you first enter, this is where you will find a majority of the rides. It's kind of broken down. They recently renamed these sections into World Celebration, World Discovery, and World Nature. Um, Front of the park is where, like I said, most of the rides are. And then back of the park is what I think a lot of people know Epcot for. Epcot is really known for World Showcase. So the idea of this is you're walking around the world and you're exploring all these country pavilions. And no, it doesn't include every country in the world, but it sure makes you feel like you're exploring the entire world. There are 11 country pavilions. Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, Italy, Japan, USA, Canada, United Kingdom. That's not all of them, but it is really fun. So each pavilion, the architecture, the food, the cast members, everything correlates to that country of origin. So you go into Mexico, you hear Mexican music, there's Mexican food, the cast members, that's what they call Disney employees, if you didn't know. The cast members most often are actually from that country. So it really feels like when you're in it, you feel like you're there. And then that's how it's designed to be. Most of them do offer shopping that is specific to that country that you're in as well. Lots of food, lots of drinks, lots of snacks, lots of entertainment. Really fun. I love going around the world at Epcot. So we'll break it down a little bit more here. They have 30 to 40 total attractions, 12 to 15 of those being rides. And then they've got a couple of shows, some films actually, walkthroughs. They do a lot of festivals. So Flower and Garden Festival is happening, I believe, right now, or soon. I think it kicks off around May. Um, and or Food and Garden, sorry, Food and Garden. And then there's like a what's the other one? I don't know. Again, guys, my brain. I need more coffee. There's a lot of festivals, and there's live music performances and things like that available at Epcot. It's definitely the most adult theme park. Drinking is highly encouraged here. That's a big thing. You probably, if you want to find it, just pull it up on TikTok or Instagram, like drinking around the world at Epcot. You'll see 50,000 videos of people. Hi, my name's Nancy, and this is drink number one. And then, like, by the end of walking around the country, she's like, not exactly, but you know, you get the idea. So very adult park, but there's plenty to do for the kids too. Now let's break down some of the key attractions at Epcot. Number one being Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Love, 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 love. 10 out of 10. I could ride Guardians of the Galaxy for probably 30 minutes straight. I mean, like realistically, I love it so much. Like I don't want to get off. I won't go into detail on that. If you're like a ride fan, you like kind of feeling loosey-goosey tossed around rushes of thrills, but nothing too crazy. Like you don't think you're gonna die, you're just enjoying yourself. Highly recommend Guardians of the Galaxy. Frozen Ever After is a big ride here. It's located in the Norway Country Pavilion. My daughter loves it. You get to see Elsa. All the music is there. Olaf. It's great. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. I have actually never done, shockingly. But my kids were never really into the Ratatouille movie, and it was always like a conflict of which rides are we going to get to. So maybe we'll try it this year, but I know it's very popular. 3D ride attraction. You're like a mouse and you're going through the kitchen and all things. Test Track, super classic, great fun ride. You get in a little test vehicle and you go off on the track and it shows how you test the car. I don't know. It's really high speed. Love it. Don't feel like you're going to die. Again, super fun. Soaring around the world, can't go to Epcot without doing, really. It's a very immersive experience. You actually don't ride much. You sit in basically like a swing, and then the rest is like this big sphere orb of immersiveness video. Kind of similar to like the Las Vegas sphere. where they portray things in the theater like that. Like you feel like you're soaring around the world, but you really only go like you sit in a chair and you go up and you experience it and then you go down. Um, Spaceship Earth that I had forgotten the name of, the ride inside the classic Epcot golf ball. Really boring. But great if you want to cool down or like take a nap or you just feel like you should do it because you're there and you should do it. Um, so yeah, those are some of the key attractions. Let's see. What else can I break down for you? So we can kind of distinct it. I would say a little bit from Magic Kingdom. Think of it, it has a lot more walking and exploration space. Remember, Magic Kingdom is very dense, small to the parks. When you're going to Epcot, travel time is going to take a little bit longer. There's definitely more areas to explore. It's nice to be able to kind of leisurely make your way through it. Um, and as I mentioned, it's heavily tied to food, drinks, festivals. Um, Oh, Flower and Garden is one festival, Food and Wine, and then Festival of the Arts. Those are the three, I think, primary festivals. And there are, you know, in the front of the park, I don't want you to think it's all adultish things. There are a bunch of kids' activities. There's a fantastic aquarium. There's a Finding Nemo ride. Figment, love Figment Classic Journey into Imagination ride is there. So, oh, and recently they added a Moana themed immersive, like, water experience where you walk through. It's almost like you're walking through gardens, but you're walking through different water features and it's playing all the Moana music. Kids love it. They can play in the water, get a little wet. So there's definitely a balance of things to do with children and as an adult. We like to mix it up for us having fun, the kids having fun. One reason why we're going for 2 days. But love Epcot Classic theme park, generally open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Some people are surprised by how early they close, typically. I actually think that's intentional so that people don't end up like passing out or vomiting at 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. All right, moving along. Disney's Hollywood Studios. Um, Primary lands would be this is where the park where you get Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, Millennium Falcon, all the Star Wars stuff. Incredible. Have to experience it. Very immersive land. Like you will feel like you are literally in the Star Wars world. The next primary land is Toy Story Land, very popular for kids, of course. It's the hottest area, in my opinion, across all of Walt Disney World theme parks. Something about Toy Story Land, you're melting. Like if I stand in one place still for more than 3 minutes, I feel like the Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz, melting, like literally. Other areas, if you looking at the map. Upper left back, that's the Star Wars area. Coming down right from there is Toy Story Land. And then the balance of the park really is like the classic beginnings of this theme park. So Hollywood Studios used to be called MGM. That was its original name, and it has evolved over time. But the balance of the park down center, down to the lower right, those are all like classic old school MGM-ish things. Um, there's a lot of different boulevards. So the theme of the balance of the park outside of Star Wars and Toy Story Land is Hollywood-esque and very into like shows, entertainment, animation, all of that. Um, Hollywood Studios is about 135 acres, 25 to 30 total attractions. Lots of shows. So the bulk of the attractions at Hollywood Studios, I would say, are stage performances. Lots of character meet and greets. Again, there's a lot of Hollywood theme, like production, movie production kind of themes. Major rides across the park would be the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, absolute must do. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which is like a 3D experience. Great Star Wars ride. Slinky Dog Dash, kids roller coaster in Toy Story Land. It's great. Tower of Terror, classic staple to this theme park. It was kind of an icon for the park for a long time. Tower of Terror, you're in this old hotel, you go up in the elevator and woo, elevator drops. I can give more feedback on that, but I need to be mindful of time. Rock and Roller Coaster is currently closed and retheming to include the Muppets, but that's a big one. Mickey and Mickey's Runaway Railway, fantastic ride, family friendly. I've brought my 6-month-old on that ride before. It's great. Toy Story Mania, little 3D ride. Star Tours, the big one. And then lots and lots and lots of shows. Beauty and the Beast, stage show. Indiana Jones, Epic Stunt Spectacular. There's a new Villains show. There's a Little Mermaid show. There's a Frozen show. Lots of shows. And then in terms of nighttime, oh, I missed the nighttime entertainment at Epcot. Anyway, each theme park, except for Animal Kingdom, has nighttime entertainment, firework-ish things. Um, so at Magic Kingdom, they have Big Wishes fireworks show at night. Every night, 9:30, pretty much. Um, at Hollywood Studios, the big nighttime firework display is within the show called Phantasmic. Wonderful, wonderful show. Blew me away the first time that I saw it. My brother actually works for Disney, and uh, he saw it first and told me about it. I think I was in elementary school at the time or middle school. And the first time I saw it, I was like enthralled. Enthralled. Immediately like bought the soundtrack on CD, memorized like every word of the show. And we didn't have like YouTube POV recordings of it back then. So I'm like, 13 years old and like just obsessed with the show. It's really, really well done. So Phantasmic takes place within an amphitheater outdoors, and the stage is essentially like a mountain backdrop. And then there's a lagoon of water, and then there's a stadium full of people. And Mickey is the main character, although they incorporate bits and pieces of almost everything, all the movies, and it's amazing. It's a must-see. Everybody should see Phantasmic at least once in their life. Um, any other commentary I want to add here? So I would say Hollywood Studios, even though it has fewer attractions, it makes sense. They have the longest wait times in general across Walt Disney World. Um, so that, people feel it. I would say this is one of the harder parks to navigate and pack it all in, particularly in one day, and particularly when you're considering the length of the shows. Because you'll want to get to the show theater in advance, get a good seat, and then you gotta do the show, and then you gotta exit, and then so it can be challenging, honestly, to manage your time at Hollywood Studios. All right, but for sake of time to be considerate, let's jump into our last park here, Animal Kingdom. All right, Animal Kingdom. I feel not as comfortable with this park. I know the other one's like the back of my hand. This one I haven't experienced as much, but broken down into different lands. You'll see on the bottom center of the map is the entrance. You come up and enter the what they call the oasis. There's lots of different walking trails, lots of wildlife. You see birds, you see fish. It's very, very nature oriented and lots to explore, very peaceful. I like Animal Kingdom because it just makes me feel like chill. And maybe there's something like grounding about it because you are so much, you feel like you're in a jungle or something like that. I don't know. It brings my stress levels down. I just feel like I'm hanging, just relaxing, just exploring. Um, this is the largest of the four parks. It spans 580 acres. Much of the space is dedicated to natural habitats, and there are some actual conservation areas, lots of animal enclosures. But the way that Animal Kingdom does animal enclosures, like some people think like, oh, Animal Kingdom is just like a zoo. I have a zoo. I have the Detroit Zoo. I don't need to go see Animal Kingdom. This is not like just a zoo. There's nothing like that in terms of how they house and take care of the animals. So totally different. Um, they do have 20 to 25 total attractions. There's only 8 to 10 rides, but there's, I think, 8 different walking trails. There's lots of animal exhibits. There are some shows, Lion King show, Finding Nemo show. There's like bird releasing tropical birds experience that I've never done. And the safari is a must do at Animal Kingdom. So the safari, if I look back on my map here, if you walk in, you walk through Oasis, you go up towards the center to that big giant tree, the Tree of Life. Heading into Africa up from there towards the upper left of the map. You'll see Africa. That's where the safari is. And that's a very popular thing. Like what I would say strategy for Animal Kingdom, do safari first. Like early morning, lots of the animals are out. Get it off your list because it is very, very popular. The safari, you actually get into a Jeep and you drive through the lands and you see giraffes, lions, zebra, all the things like out in nature. Of course, they have like discreet ways of preventing the dangerous animals from getting to you. So the lion's not going to like jump off the cliff and attack you, but you will see them like in some semblance of like freedom of what their actual life would be like in Africa. So that's great. Safari, number one thing to do here for sure. Um, oh, and then there's a whole Pandora world. So down bottom left is Pandora. So that land is the newest area. It's the world of Avatar. I actually am not familiar with the movies, but it is beautiful. So this is a very immersive land or world that they built with an Animal Kingdom. It looks like you're in Pandora, which is the environment of the Avatar movie. Couple of good rides there. There's Avatar Flight of Passage and the Navi River Journey. Really love both of those. And they are pretty family friendly. I think Flight of Passage is the only one that has a height requirement. Um, let's see. What else can I tell you about this park? Yeah, so in essence, it is part zoo, kind of, part theme park, part nature reserve. There's a focus on live animals and just immersive natural environments. It opens early and often, well, like all the time closes earlier. You can see the average hours here at 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I want to say sometimes they even close at 5. So this is more of like a half day park. Lots of walking because it's big, but I would say the vibe is very chill, relaxing. If you need to bring your stress levels down, I recommend a day at Animal Kingdom for sure. All right, let's keep moving on because I'm running over the time that I intended to record. So, as a snapshot, this might be a slide that you might want to screen cap or screenshot on your phone, however you're watching. Just walking through kind of some of the distinction between the four main theme parks. Again, Magic Kingdom averages 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., 40 to 50 attractions, best for classic Disney families, first visits. Crowd difficulty is usually very high. Again, it's very dense, it's small. One day feasibility is hard, but it's doable with the proper planning. And ticket type, we'll talk about tickets and Lightning Lane on another show. Epcot, 9 to 9, 30 to 40 attractions, best for food, festivals, adults, exploration. Crowd difficulty does vary largely by season, but it is doable in one day. Hollywood Studios, 8:30 to 9, 25 to 30 attractions, best known for entertainment, thrill rides, Star Wars, extremely high crowds, hardest park to do it all, as we discussed. Animal Kingdom, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., 20 to 25 attractions. I got animals, Pandora, scenery, relaxed days, medium crowd difficulty. I'd say that's the easiest by any means, easiest full day. All right, now we'll get into some planning resources. So if you are considering a trip to Disney World, you don't know anything about it, or you just need to understand more, leverage YouTube for sure. Again, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just doing this for fun, honestly, and just to kind of challenge myself. And again, to like build a community. I really, really, really want this to be live where we can all kind of interact and chat together. Anyway, YouTube channels, there's so many. Disney Food Blog is a really great one. They pump out content like no other, but you can find a video, whether it's 5 to 15 minutes long, on like anything about Disney World or Disney planning. Dining plans, park reviews, food reviews, what's new and upcoming across the year, like everything under the sun. So Disney Food Blog is a fantastic YouTube resource. I would also start like searching for like for example, Magic Kingdom POV walkthrough. And you can actually then get to see like what it's like and like take your map and kind of compare what it's like walking around. So you want to get as familiar as you can with what to expect and what work needs to be done in terms of planning. So that's great. Facebook groups are really, really helpful too. I'm a member of a couple of them. They have one for almost everything. We always stay at the Grand Floridian Resort, so I'm a member of the Grand Floridian Resort group on Facebook, and people get to ask different questions about the room types and things like that. There are groups for Disney World planning tips and tricks. There's Smart Moms Plan Disney. I mean, there are a plethora of Facebook groups that you can join and interact and ask questions there as well. The next suggestion I have here, I don't want to rip out my headphones while I turn. Oh, next is Burnham's Guide to Walt Disney World. I have the 2026 version here. This is great. If you are somebody that is like digital averse or like you're tired of doing everything digitally, like I feel sometimes, this is great because the book includes like everything. And you can take notes, you can ear the pages, you can highlight, you can bring it with you can refer to it. Love having a hard copy guide available. Lastly, you have to, if you're going to book a stay, get familiar with the website and download the My Disney Experience app. Once you've booked, which you will do through the Walt Disney World Resort website, you have to get the app and you have to start playing with it. Like really, 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 really get to know the My Disney Experience app. We'll do sessions on that later. It is your lifeblood to the entirety of your trip. So those are just some high level resources. I'll likely throw some links in the chat later so you guys have them. Now I want to go into my hot take. My hot take is that Disney World is not for everyone, and a magical experience requires either very low expectations or a high degree of pre-planning and understanding. If you don't have either of those, like if you're not going to take the time to really understand what you're getting into and plan it appropriately and set your expectations, then you better just go there and think, oh, I'm going to see a castle and I might see Mickey. That's it. You know, so it's got to be one or the other. If you want that like typical magical experience that you hear about, you see pictures of, you see the commercial, you got to decide what is it for you that you're looking to achieve on this trip, what's important, and then understand the lay of the land. So what the common complaints that I see, trust me, I see them, I hear them a lot. People get back, they've spent $8,000 to $13,000 and they're like, biggest waste of money. Hate it. They just stole my money. Everything went wrong. It wasn't that great. It wasn't that magical. It happens. These are the common reasons why. Challenging navigation. They don't understand the transportation systems, the time that it takes to go to different places. They end up failing on dining reservations or just managing their time appropriately in general. Lack of pixie dust is a big one. Pixie dust is a thing that was coined when cast members do something extra gracious, generous, nice for a guest. So it could be anything from like, oh, my daughter's sandal broke in half while we were waiting in line. You go to the gift shop and you're pixie dusted with a free new sandals. That's just an example. There's a lot of ways that pixie dust can happen, and some people go into a trip kind of expecting pixie dust. It does not happen to everyone and all the time. I don't know that I've ever been pixie dusted and I've gone like a million times. So that cost versus experience, see this complaint about character dining, for example, it was $60 a plate and my kids hated the meal and the characters didn't really even interact, you know. Overtired kids, just general overwhelm, crowds, lines. You got to understand when you're going and what that is going to look like for you. There's seasonality to it. So again, just knowing what to expect. And then the last one that I see very frequently is the dependency on your phone and your app. So like I said, that My Disney Experience app is going to be your lifeblood to everything that you do if you're in a theme park, if you're on property. And some people hate that. And I actually hate it too, but I do like some of the benefit from it in terms of mobile food ordering and being able to view current wait times and things like that. So there's, pros and cons to that dependency on the phone and the app, but that's a general complaint as well. So that's just my hot take. And part of my goal is to help you work through that so that if you're going to invest in this magical Walt Disney World vacation, it truly is magical. Now I will get into some Q&A. How did that change from being centered? I swear to God, it was centered before. Let me pull up the questions that I had acquired. Okay, question number one. How many days do I need to spend at Walt Disney World? Actually, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take that down for a second. Woo, crazy hair. Crazy hair. Sorry. All right, so how many days do I need to spend at Walt Disney World? That will vary depending on what you want to do. Um, I think minimum 4 to 5 days is a sweet spot, especially depending on, if you want to cover all of the parks. So you got to be realistic about how many theme parks do you want to see. Picking out maybe 2 to 3 priorities to cover at each park, understanding, the size of your family, the ages, if you have kids. If you have young kids, you're not going to want to go for 4 days and do all 4 parks. So that really varies depending on the pace that you want and all that you want to do. But you could get it done in 5 days, just depending on the right characteristics there. Um, Next question is, how early do I need to book? Or when should I book the vacation? This again will depend on if you're planning on staying on property at one of those 18 resorts or not. Ideally, 3 to 6 months in advance. I would highly recommend at least 6 months in advance, depending on where you want to stay and how hard it is to book the reservation that you want. So again, if you're thinking of planning a trip, start playing with the website, start looking at availability, looking at the different resorts, the different costs, the different room types, like research. Take your time and enjoy planning it. Like there should be no rush. If you want to do it right and you're going to invest in this trip, I suggest start planning like a year in advance. Start getting familiar with the resorts and the room types and the travel time and what that means for proximity of which resort you're going to choose and looking at the different rates and just playing with it. It'll take a long time to play with it if you're going to book it on your own directly and not leverage like a travel planning resource. Um, Next question. What is Lightning Lane / Genie Plus? Okay, Lightning Lane is a paid system to skip standby lines, and it allows quicker entry onto rides, essentially. So it replaced the old Fast Pass system, and Lightning Lane there's a little bit of complexity to how the system works. We'll spend a full episode on that. But yes, Lightning Lane, essentially, you're paying to skip standby lines so that you get on the rides faster. How much you pay varies. Which rides you can use it on varies. We'll break it all down in the future. Genie Plus is a free service available within the My Disney Experience app. And Genie Plus basically advises you of what the wait times look like and what might be the best next move for riding something. I will do one more and then I will wrap things up. When is the best time to go? According to timing and crowds, best in terms of crowds, I would say is January to February or late April and then September. And that is mainly because kids are in school and it's not a popular holiday time. Um, and then I would avoid like big holidays, Christmas, spring break, midsummer. Midsummer especially, like no, never, never, never. I would never do it. So too many crowds, too much heat. So that is the questions that I will cover for today. Again, really want to get it into a live format of questions in the future. Can't wait for that day. I hope it happens. I will see, we'll have to see how this evolves. I'm hopeful. I hope this wasn't too much. I hope it wasn't too boring. I think it will end up becoming more fun when we get engagement. I hope you guys found some of this valuable, interesting. I hope I'm tolerable as a host. I am not Mary Poppins. I'm not practically perfect in every way, but I'm here. I'm doing the best. So I want to thank you guys for spending some time with me. I'm hoping to produce at least one episode per week, and then we will kind of go from there. But I just want to leave you with this quote from Walt Disney. And I hope that you guys make it a magical day, like truly make it a magical day. The magic, I know we feel like the magic is just housed at Walt Disney World, but the magic is in you. Not to be too cheesy, and it's in you. It's in the way that you think about things and the way that you experience things and your mindset around it. And it's in your kids. It's in our kids. For those of you that are parents, the magic is our children. And when we have the ability to really enjoy them and see that magic, that's what it's all about. So I'll leave you guys for today. Thank you again, and we will see you next time.